Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into an incredible story. It's about a tragedy, a quest for justice that spanned 2 entire decades, and one single act of vengeance that literally sent shockwaves through the British Empire. Okay, picture this. It's 1940. We're in London, inside a fancy place called Caxton Hall. A meeting is just wrapping up when, bam, 2 gunshots rip through the air. A high-ranking British official hits the floor. And that single moment of violence? It's the final chapter of a story that started 21 years earlier, thousands of miles away. The shooter, an Indian man named Udham Singh, doesn't even try to run. He just stands there, calmly surrendering. And later, in court, he gives this absolutely chilling confession. Right away, you know this wasn't some random attack. This was a mission. I mean, think about it, 21 years. That is a huge chunk of a person's life. So what on earth could drive a man to hold on to a vow for that long, to track his target across continents? To get that answer, we have to go all the way back to a single day in 1919, a day that would leave a deep, unhealable scar on the soul of India. You see, the fuse for that explosion in London wasn't lit there. It was lit years earlier, in the bloody aftermath of a horrific massacre in Punjab, India. On that terrible day, a young orphan, Udham Singh, was in a public garden called Jallianwala Bagh. He was just a teenager, serving water to the crowds gathered for a festival. He saw the whole massacre happen. And there, surrounded by the dead and the dying, he did something incredible. He scooped up a handful of earth soaked with the blood of his people, pressed it to his forehead, and swore an oath that he would get revenge. But, you know, a tragedy like this doesn't just happen out of the blue. To really get what happened, you have to understand the situation. At the time, Punjab was basically a powder keg just waiting to explode. And the British, they were holding the match. So let's talk about World War I. Britain needed soldiers, and they looked to Punjab. This number you see, 335,000, that's how many men were recruited from Punjab alone. Many of them were forced to go fight and die for an empire half a world away. And how is this massive war paid for? Well, on the backs of the Indian people. Taxes went through the roof. Britain basically squeezed its colonies dry. Just look at the income tax. It jumped from only 2% of revenue to almost 12% in just a few years. This, plus drought and inflation, created so much poverty and, you guessed it, a whole lot of resentment. So after all that sacrifice for the war, you'd think India might get something back, right? Maybe a little more freedom? Nope. Instead, they got this, the Rowlatt Act. People called it the Black Law, and for good reason. It completely stripped away basic human rights. You could be arrested on just a hunch, thrown in jail for 2 years, but no trial, no lawyer, no way to appeal. This law, as you can imagine, kicked off huge protests all over the country. All of that anger, all that tension, it all came to a head on one day, April 13th, 1919. It was supposed to be a celebration, the Festival of Baisakhi. Instead, it turned into an unimaginable bloodbath. So in the city of Amritsar, thousands of people, villagers, pilgrims, families gathered in Jallianwala Bagh. A lot of them had no idea the British had banned public meetings. And here's the crucial part. This wasn't a park with open fields. It was a sunken piece of land surrounded by high walls with only a few super narrow exits. It was, tragically, a perfect death trap. A little after 5 in the afternoon, a British officer, Brigadier General Reginald Dyer, showed up with his troops. He blocked the main exit, gave absolutely no warning to the crowd, and just ordered his soldiers to fire. For 10 solid minutes, they fired into the packed crowd. This number, 1650, is how many bullets they fired into those trapped, unarmed people. The scene afterwards was just horrific. People were shot trying to climb the walls. Others jumped into a deep well to escape, only to drown. And when it came to counting the bodies, the official British number was suspiciously low, 379. But Indian sources said it was well over 1,000 dead. That huge difference shows you just how badly the British tried to cover up how awful it truly was. And if you think maybe Dyer panicked or made a mistake, think again. When he was questioned later, he had zero remorse. He admitted, in his own words, that his goal wasn't just to break up the crowd. He wanted to create terror, to scare the entire region of Punjab into submission. The world was shocked, but Dyer basically got away with it. For Udham Singh, that was not justice.
And so, that vow he made with blood-soaked earth on his forehead, it put him on a relentless 2-decade-long chase across the entire globe.
The patience of this man was just extraordinary. He traveled all over the world, working odd jobs, meeting up with revolutionary groups, using different names. Then, in 1927, General Dyer, the man who ordered the shooting, died of a stroke. But Singh knew Dyer was just the weapon. The man who had really orchestrated the massacre was still alive. And nothing shows his mission better than one of the names he used, Ram Mohammed Singh Azad. Each name stands for a major religion in India, Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh. And Azad, that means free. His very name was a symbol of the united, free India he was fighting for. So by 1934, Udham Singh makes it to London, and he waits. He patiently waits for his moment. And that brings us right back to where we started, to Caxton Hall, to witness the final act of this incredible story. At his trial, Udham Singh was completely defiant. He made it crystal clear who his target was, Sir Michael O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer was the powerful lieutenant governor of Punjab back in 1919. He was the one who approved Dyer's actions, who enforced the brutal law that followed. In Singh's eyes, O'Dwyer was the real butcher. Now get this, and it's a really shocking detail. While many people in Britain were horrified by what happened, a lot weren't. A major British newspaper actually praised General Dyer, calling him the savior of Punjab. They started a fund for him and raised £26,000, an absolute fortune back then. For India, this was like rubbing salt in a massive open wound. So why does all this matter so much? Well, the massacre and the way the British reacted to it was a huge turning point. It completely shattered any faith Indians had left in British justice. It radicalized an entire generation, and it directly pushed Mahatma Gandhi to launch his famous non-cooperation movement, which supercharged the fight for a free India. Udham Singh was hanged for his crime, but his story, well, it lives on. It forces us to ask some really tough questions. Was it an act of terrorism? Or was it a freedom fighter's quest for justice? Can one man's patient 21-year hunt for revenge actually change the course of an empire? I think the walls of Jallianwala Bagh, which are still scarred with bullet holes today, give us a pretty chilling answer.